Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Two Girls, One Doc.
One Doc.
It's your girl, BD.
It's Foreign's the fiance.
And we are back.
We actually set up to record an hour.
Like 2 hours ago.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, almost 2 hours ago.
It's an hour 45 minutes ago.
Chatting so much. This is the true substance of the relationship, though. We talk like every day.
Time.
We talk like every day.
Yeah, but I feel like the past weekend, like, we haven't spoken that much. Like,
yeah,
life
but
has
that's
been very
because
busy.
I've been in hell.
Life.
I've just come out of hell. Dante's Inferno. I'm back.
Welcome back to
Thank you.
Earth.
Yeah, so
But yes, it's
we
been
had a nice
madness.
little catch up.
It was lovely,
the
delightful.
love. Yeah.
Oh, I wish. Also, what nails are we doing for your wedding? I kind of want to do. Have you seen those ones where
I wanted to suggest, but I didn't want to be a bridezilla because my biggest thing is I don't want people showing up with funny nails.
Okay, let me tell you what I want, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so also, for anyone not interested who's bad vibes, I'm gonna put.
Can you suggest this to the other bridesmaids so I don't look like a bridezilla? Just like, guys, I think we should do.
Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna put the timestamp of when the documentary actually starts, so you can fast forward if you're bad vibes. Okay, so you know those nails, yeah? It's like the almond shape, yeah, and then it's like a nude color on the base. Like a nude, like a pinky, like a normal thing, yeah. And then it has like the French tip, but it's not. It's like, I don't really like French tip, but it's like, it doesn't look like a bad French tip. It's just like a bit lighter on it. Do you know what I'm talking about? What? How's that?
Fine, as long as it's nude and muted, I don't care. Guys, I'm so sorry. Yeah. We just edited some really good tea, but yeah.
No, okay. Anyway,
I wish you could all be in our friendship so you could hear everything, but unfortunately you're not. You can't sit.
So one day we'll get a Patreon and then you can.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
In the Patreon, we're just going to put all the unredacted.
Yeah, that should just be the whole Patreon should just be redacted shit. Like,
just take out all the beeps and just be like, and this bitch, and that bitch, and this bitch, and these ends,
bitch,
and those ends,
and her shit wig.
So today we are covering hot coffee. Also, for anyone wondering if we still drink, I do, but I'm not drinking today. I'm drinking water because I'm trying to be a hydrated babe. So yeah.
If any of you have watched My £600 Life, Dr. Now, yeah, he's the doctor that puts them on the weight loss program before they do the surgery, right? And then sometimes when he weighs them, like, so if he puts you on your program and then you come back and you put on weight, like, he's like, what the fuck? So one time he put this lady on the program, right, and she put on weight, and she was like, no, like, I followed the program, and she was like, he was like, you cannot, for you to have put on this weight in 3 weeks, that means
you can't have.
He was literally like, that means you ate this year's food and next year's food today.
Is that how he talks to them?
He can be really rude, right? But it's funny. Well, it's not. It's funny. It's funny. Actually,
it's funny to you because he's not talking to you.
Yeah. So I want to say that within myself, I ate this year's food and next year's food in one sitting today. I can't even think of like anything that's calorific. I need to do like a fast. I'm talking about like the Jesus Christ kind of fast.
Oh my
40
God.
days. I need 40 days of not eating. I don't know how Jesus did that, but
yeah, because he was empowered by the Holy Spirit.
Let the Holy Spirit descend upon me.
So get you some Holy Spirit, girl.
Fam. So,
So yes, also I just want to point out that Florence is looking very scrumptious today.
Am I?
You are glowing like a glowing babe.
Am I glowing?
Yeah, you are.
Trust
I
me,
love
it's not a man that's bringing this.
Who mentioned men? Who mentioned them?
I just want to say, no, do you know what some guy said to me today? He was like, so talking about age, and he was telling me something he has in his business. Oh, how old are you? I was like, I don't like talk about age.
He said that.
Yeah, he was like, I'm pushing 30, yeah. And I was like, how old are you? He was like, 26. I was like, fucking hun.
He said he's 26 and he's pushing 30.
But then I said to him, I get it, because when I turned 26, I felt really low, because 21, it's like, yeah, you're young and you're fun. 25, it's like, yes, girl, drink, it's cool. Anything past 25, it's a countdown to 30. Like, people are like, you need to get serious.
30?
Nothing's bad about 30, but it's just the perception we all have of being 30.
Do you know what? I think because I look like a small babe, like, I just don't feel it.
You
yet.
probably feel something though, because
my only thing is that like everyone is becoming a child bride and there's just bare teenage pregnancies around. But other than
don't
that,
mind these people. Don't fucking.
Other than that, like, I'm fine.
And then so he said to me, so I was like to him, well, how old do you think I am? Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, you look really youthful for your age. Like, I didn't say my age, but he said
what's
that.
my age that I look useful for?
I said to him, you basically called me an old bitch. He was like, I was like, you called me haggard, raggedy.
You told me that I'm old, but I look good for it.
Literally, you said to me, I look 50, but a good 50.
You said menopausal.
Literally. I said, you told me I have one egg left. And he was like, no, that's not meant. I'm just saying that you have a really youth energy. I was like, you think you could have just told me I look really young. Like,
exactly.
What do you mean useful for?
Why for my age? For my age? What's for my age?
Nah. But on the plus side, a lot of people told me today I look around 23, 24. Like,
but why do you want to look 23, 24? You don't look 23, 24. They're lying.
Oh, fuck off, mate. Like, fuck. Oh, remember that time I said you were bad vibes?
You look, I'm not even trying to put ages out there, but you look like, I mean, okay, you're black in it, so we have to account for that.
But these were black, it was a black event. At the same time, though, I feel like it's difficult to say to someone they look young for their age when you know them intimately.
Yeah. Like, in my head,
I don't expect you to say to me I look young for my age, because you know my age, you've seen me
like
grow.
If I had never seen you, then I can make an accurate,
exactly.
not accurate, but like a non-biased
exactly.
Yes, like, to me, you've just always been the age that you are.
Yeah.
That I am. Anyway, you know what I mean.
Yeah, literally. And also another thing, I had this conversation with my sister, because she always tries to get onto me when people say this to me as well, because a lot of people do say to me I look a lot younger than my age, but what I said to her was like, what does 23, 24 look like now?
Exactly.
Because these kids
nowadays,
what do I have that them man don't have? In fact, if anything, some of them look more like older than me, because
older than us,
hair, nails, everything,
fillers,
all
designer
the adult
bag,
markers.
like, everyone carries themselves older.
Exactly,
anyway.
literally, because when we were younger, you could tell we were younger because we didn't have any markers of adult.
And our eyebrows weren't done and shit.
Literally, we were doing juicy control. These men are carrying Gucci, this and that. So, like, the event I went to today, people walking up to me saying, oh, we're graduates. And I was like, oh, like, if I saw you, like,
as in PhD,
fam. So yeah. Anyways, speaking of all people, this documentary.
This documentary is called Hot Coffee. It's a HBO documentary. It's available on YouTube, actually, if you want to watch it. If you just type in Hot Coffee documentary, it will come up. I think it's called like hot.coffee.2011. I don't know. Anyway, it came out in 2011. When I was but a babe.
So old. Like,
when I was but a babe. That's 11 years ago. That's
no,
wild,
but it seems like when you say 2011, I'm thinking, oh yeah, like that was last year.
Yeah, but it literally was over a decade ago. That's wild.
And I was like, nah, fuck off. Fuck.
And then I was like, oh, maybe it's because it was on. Maybe it's because it's on YouTube. Like, the quality's been diminished a little bit, but like, low key,
even what they were wearing,
that was a long time ago.
You cannot actually tell me that 2011 was that long ago.
Even the McDonald's. Even the McDonald's, I was like, McDonald's don't look like that no more.
Fuck off. This documentary was so strange. Like, I thought it would be a bit more salacious. It was just almost it was like watching a lecture on the American judicial system. I was like, wait, did I go back to uni?
Do you know what I need? And as much as I cuss Netflix, I need Netflix, to take this story, because basically this documentary has like three or four different cases, and it discusses them. So I need them to talk about the McDonald's one. Like, I need Netflix to just do like a up to date version.
Not Netflix in depth. Though. Netflix always they'll bring the person's great granddaughter. And now Netflix always does entirely too much. Even my sister was saying that.
Okay, maybe Hulu then.
Yeah, my sister said the same thing. She was like, listen, Netflix, you know how they chat about things that don't need to be chatted about.
Yeah, they just want to try and get that an hour 45 minutes.
Literally, they really, I don't know why they do that. Like, oh,
there must be a reason. What was the reason? Okay, so it starts off with a montage of clips from different shows, news articles of the case of this lady who spilled coffee on herself and she sued McDonald's. Like, I'm sure you've heard of this case.
It has a Seinfeld skit in the beginning.
Yeah, skit in there.
And do you know what? Yeah, I love Seinfeld, but Seinfeld always reminds me of Wale's album. Oh God. There's an album Wale has, and if you're a true Wale fan, please just remind me. I can't remember. I think it's More About Nothing. I think it's called More About Nothing. And basically that album, he's sitting down with the guy from Seinfeld, and like they're talking, and like he has bits of the conversation like in before
the thing.
And if you even listen to Matrimony, have you heard that song with Usher? If there's a question of my heart, you got it. It don't belong to you.
Why does that sound familiar?
Because you've heard it.
Singing, improving. Look at you, girl.
Look at that. In the beginning, there's this skit. You would have heard it when he's like, "Oh, marriage is like a roller coaster." Da, 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 da. But anyway, So Seinfeld always reminds me of that.
That's from that conversation.
I know I love Wale, so he's still the one that got away. But
okay. So
but we had the theory that if we met we would have been a thing. You agreed with that.
Yeah, I don't.
And
recall.
even Idris Elba.
What?
Remember when we said Idris Elba? Like, if me and Idris Elba met, then we would have been a thing.
You would have got, yeah. We said the same thing about Wale. I'll give you that.
Child, all his exes look like me. He was looking for me in Every Woman. I don't know what
I'm every woman.
I don't know what he's doing with Sabrina, mate. Like, that's another
Leave her
thing.
alone. She supports her man. So no. So you want to be with Idris and he will start rapping. Is that
Wait,
what you wanted? So yeah, most people know about this. I don't know where I edited some stuff out. I don't know if this is if this lined up, but we're back now. Yeah, we're talking about the fact that sign up to the Patreon. We're talking about the fact that basically the case of this lady spilled coffee on herself. She sues McDonald's, and basically bare people just taking the piss. Like, there's just examples of loads of like seemingly frivolous lawsuits and people giving their opinions on the case, and like this goes on for like 3 minutes, and I'm like, bro, like, when is this documentary going to start?
But had you heard about this story before?
Yeah.
What did you hear about it?
That she spilled coffee on herself and she sued McDonald's.
Okay, so I heard, that she was this fat woman who, and nothing wrong with being fat, but you know the way like people talk, right?
Yeah.
Especially because I think it happened when I was in primary school, that she was just this fat woman and she was looking for money because she was on benefits. So she opened the coffee, drank it, and do you know what I mean? But it was just interesting because the media is devil. Literally ruthless. Like, none of that was accurate.
And we are sheep because literally people, because literally in that montage thing, yeah, they're interviewing people on the street, like, oh, what have you heard? And they're all like, oh, she's so dumb, like she's the one who spilled it, like, oh, how can she sue McDonald's, blah blah blah. But when you actually hear what happened, it's like, actually this makes a lot of sense.
Even doctors were like, oh, if we had known this, then
exactly. So we're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's giving very much Breaking Bad vibes. Was it Albuquerque they were in? Isn't it?
I don't know, it's the vibes look the same though.
Okay, so we meet Nancy Tiano, who is the daughter of Stella Liebeck, who is the person this case is about, right? So Stella is the lady who spilled coffee, right? So this documentary is split in 2 sections. They call them exhibits. I think they were just trying to be like, ooh, law vibes, but okay. So exhibit 1 is called the Public Relations Campaign. And we get on-screen text that says Stella Liebeck versus McDonald's. So Stella actually signed an NDA, so she can't speak on what happened. But her daughter Judy
and Judy's
dead. Husband Chuck are like, I signed no such thing. Here's what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said she's also dead.
What, Stella?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, she wasn't dead at the time.
I thought you meant in terms of being on the documentary.
No.
Like, they're not going to dig her up for this.
All, like after the ruling and everything. Yeah, R.I.P. Stella, man. Come on. So Judy's here to set us straight because everyone thinks that Stella. So there's various like, you know, versions of the story, like what Ferenc said, but everyone kind of thinks she was driving, she spilled her coffee, and then she sued McDonald's, like trying to just get a quick buck. Yeah. The truth is, she wasn't driving. She was actually in a passenger seat, and they were in the parking lot in her grandson Christopher's car. So we hear Stella's account of what happened. So basically, they're in the car. She's got the cup between her legs, and she's trying to take the top off to put milk and sugar.
And the car was stacked.
Yeah, they weren't moving.
You know
it was stationary.
Yeah, stationary. I was gonna say stagnant.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, is it water? So she, like what anybody would do, you open up the coffee, you put the tea and sugar in, the milk and sugar in, and then you close it. Yeah. You know I don't drink hot drinks. So it toppled over her and it burned her, right? And so everyone's kind of like trying to clown her, but then whoever's interviewing these street people, yeah, shows them Stella's actual burns, yeah, and everyone is fucking shocked, and they're all just like, oh fuck, like that's wild, yeah. And we see
done without
the
seeing
pictures.
it. I could have done without.
We see. I'm gonna put them on Instagram. Okay, what I'll do is I'll put like a cover photo of something else so that you don't just like shock and see it. Yeah, maybe I'll put like a couple and then I'll put it at the end. So if you want to see the burns, you can go on my Instagram and see them. But they are fucking brutal,
horrendous.
Like,
they are really bad. I've never seen anything like that in my life. But like Stella,
I don't know if it's worse because she's like an old lady and her skin is probably really thin.
Yeah,
like,
and then she just has a lot of muscle, but it just was really disturbing to see.
It was really like trigger warning. If you want to go on Instagram and look, you can. But like we told you, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So everyone's shocked, their views change, and it's mad. Like they said that she was burned so severely that they didn't think she was going to live, which is wild.
That is crazy.
Now, this whole lawsuit started out with them basically saying to McDonald's, hey, can you pay for the surgery, because I mean it's your coffee, it was hella hot and she needed hella skin grafts, yeah, which is not a small surgery. So they also say, look, on top of that, you guys need to sort out your machines because clearly something's malfunctioned if they're that hot, and if they haven't malfunctioned and this is your policy, then you need to change your policy because this shouldn't happen to anyone else. Guess what McDonald's fucking offer her? they offer her, yeah, guess in your head, think of a number. Okay, that number, yeah, is $800. And the medical surgeries and everything cost $10,000.
Yeah.
Like, are you all right? This is what I'm saying. I get it now, because I'm just like, all I'm saying to you is, hey, please just cover the cost, so we're not out of pocket for the fact that this happened. I'm not trying to get any more money. Yeah. That's all we asked for, and we asked you to change your policy so this doesn't happen again. And you were like, oh, fuck you, here's $800. Are you all right? So this is when it starts to feel like a lecture, yeah? Because we learn a bit about like the branches of government. The only reason this is relevant is because of the judiciary branch. So there's legislative, executive. Judiciary is the only one, they say, that's not dominated by money or politics, because you can't wine or dine jurors. Although you can bribe them, but then like that's against the law.
I wish someone would have bribed me in that. Actually, no, not that.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not in that case.
Not the case I had, but I wish someone would bribe me on some other case.
If it was like a fender bender.
Not if even all these corporate. I was going to say corporate corporations.
All these corporate corporations.
I'm tired.
But you know, if you haven't listened to that credits episode, I think it's called Jury Duty or whatever it's called. Yeah, where Florence has like an actual mad case, and she like just talks about it, and it's very wild.
I would listen to that. For doing a podcast on that. No, they wouldn't. But no, I wish one of these corporations, I'd be on the case, and then they would just bribe me, man. Oh God.
Yeah, honestly, you can buy my vote. So we meet Ken Wagner, who's Stella's lawyer, and we meet this other guy called David Arredondo, who's her surgeon, and he says to us, like, if a liquid is over 100 degrees and is in contact with your skin for more than a few seconds, it can lead to 3rd degree or full thickness burns, which is fucking fucked. Okay, well, R.I.P. Stella. So there had been 700 complaints about McDonald's hot drinks before this happened to Stella. 700. So when confronted with this, you see the tape. The McDonald's representative is like, oh, 700, wow, like I'm glad it's not higher than that. Like, it's good that it's not higher than 700. And I was like, bro, like,
what the fuck are you okay about? Or are you all right? Like,
are you okay or are you all right? Like, literally very mad. And he's not actually here in the documentary. I think it's like a video of a deposition or something. Fine. So the jurors have to like vote about all of this, and they kind of like, look, 20% of it was Stella's fault because she spilled the coffee, but 80% of it was McDonald's fault because they knew.
It was 20%. I wouldn't have given her 20% of the fault.
Yeah, it's like people spill. It's like, okay, in fact, let's even say it's 40% her fault because why did she buy coffee in the first place? Exactly. In fact, it's 50% her fault because why did she put the milk and the thing in it? Do you know what I mean?
Crazy, like,
it's like, why is that even her fault? But anyway, so this results in Stella Liebeck being awarded $160,000 in compensatory damages, and then 2.7 million in punitive damages, which is like, wow, what a win. The punitive damages are basically like, oh, to punish the company, but the judge reduces this from 2.7 million to 480.
That's bad vibes.
Which is very bad vibes. Like, I'm sorry, like, I get it's a lot of money, but like, if you see those pictures, it's not enough.
If she was like, you know,
it's a fucking piss take.
What if she was a stripper? You're taking her.
Exactly. If that was my livelihood. Exactly.
If my livelihood. It's crazy.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Wild. So on-screen text tells us that they settle for an undisclosed amount. Fine. Anyway, the aftermath is really wild, and people kind of use this as a case to be like, oh, Stella's trying to exploit the system. We need to do this whole thing called tort reform, which is basically saying like, oh, you know, like, torts is doing harm. The tort reform is like, oh, basically people can't use frivolous lawsuits to claim when harm has been done to them, like in Stella's case, right? And so there's this whole section on that. There's this guy, I wrote his name down. His name is Alex Winslow. He's the executive director of Texas Watch, and he's just a bit confused.
I don't think that the term, I'm not going to say it. I won't say the word tort reform, that phrase, because I don't think that it is an accurate representation of what's really going on.
So he's basically like, oh, like, I'm not going to say the phrase tort reform, but he says tort reform. Like, anyway, he's just very confused, and it's like, okay, he's not on board with tort reform, which, I mean, he's a good guy in the grand scheme of things, I think. I got very confused. So also, there's this story about this guy who, okay, I'm going to say the story, and you let me know what you think about it, before I tell you more about the story, okay? So in your mind, in your car, at work, whatever, you form your opinion, So there's this guy in California. He's using this phone booth, right, to make a call. He sees this car coming towards him, and it hits him, right? And he, like, honestly, like, it sounds kind of like funny, but it's actually not, because he's very injured. Like, he loses his leg as a result of this. Anyway, so he doesn't sue the driver. He sues the phone booth company. And everyone's like, what the fuck? Like, would you not sue the driver? Like, what's the phone booth company got to do with it? Yeah. However, it turns out that this phone booth is in a very dangerous place. Like, cars have hit it bare times before, and that door hadn't been repaired properly. So when he saw the car coming towards him, he was trying to get out, but the door was stuck and he couldn't get out. So in that situation,
sue the fucking phone booth company.
Thank you very much. And it's like, he deserves, like, even his medical bills, like, alone in that America, like, he deserves compensation. And also loss of earnings. Like, he's not going to be able to work in the same way. He may not be able to work in the same way. He's going to have to, like, amend his house or get help. Well? Yeah, he got one leg amputated. Yeah. Like, it's crazy.
See them for filth.
So you get all these campaigns against, like, what they call law abuse, and they're basically acting like bare citizens came together and did all this stuff. Forensics rolling her eyes, but really it's just PR companies started this because they just didn't want companies to have to pay out for shit like this. And so then it gets all political about putting a cap. So George Bush is basically like, oh yeah, let's put a cap on punitive damages. Punitive damages, like we said, are the ones that, like, punish big companies. The president is like, all right, cool, we're putting a cap on that. But the previous president, I think Bill Clinton, I did not have sexual relations with that woman one, innit?
Yeah, Democrat.
He didn't agree with that. So then when George Bush came into power, he was like, yeah, fuck that shit, we're putting caps. And everything is just political, really, because like, why? Anyway, episode 2, Exhibit 2, we talk about the cap on damages. So we have this case of Colin Gurley, which is really, really sad. They live in Omaha, Nebraska, and Lisa and Mike are his parents. So the story goes that Lisa was 36 weeks pregnant and she had twins, right? Twin boys. She has a doctor's appointment, but the day before she clocks that the babies aren't really moving around very much. And it's so funny because I saw a TikTok on this recently and they were like, look, like, if you're pregnant and your babies are moving and then one day they're not, like, don't even hesitate. Like, don't. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't stop. Like, go to your doctor and get it checked out. Anyway, she's kind of like, oh, I've got an appointment tomorrow anyway, so I'm gonna go and I'll just let them know when I see them, right? So the doctor listens to the heartbeats and she's like, oh yeah, no, everything's fine. And the on-screen text tells us that the doctor thought that she had 2 placentas instead of 1, and I was like, okay, what the fuck does that even mean? But we find out that this is important because if there's only 1 placenta, that makes it a high-risk pregnancy, and which means that more tests should have been done that day, right? So what she said, what was happening was called twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome. So basically, one twin starts getting all the nutrients and the other twin doesn't get anything. So baby stop moving. They're still not moving after all of this. So she goes to see a different doctor, and one of the babies, the heartbeat is really, really, really slow, like almost like it's not beating. So she has an emergency C-section. Literally, she gets to the doctor's office within 10 minutes. She has a C-section, and it turns out that one of the twins suffers severe brain damage, and one is absolutely fine, even though they were born at the same time. So you kind of think like, oh my god, that's so sad. Like, it's unfortunate, but how is the doctor supposed to know? Blah blah blah. Now, this doctor had been sued twice before for malpractice.
Get the fuck out.
Twice before.
When
okay, it wasn't baby.
Your medical license, like, revoked?
When did you buy it? Like, it wasn't to do with the babies, it was other stuff, but like literally twice before. And it's like, if you had known that, maybe then you might have like reconsidered. And also the saddest part about this is that Lisa, the mum, is like blaming herself. She's like, oh, like, why didn't I insist? I should have insisted on more tests. And this is why it's just really sad, because it's like, fam, you are not a qualified doctor. Like, you are not to know.
So if you're being told by a doctor that it's all good, how would you know that it's not all good?
Exactly. I 100% believe in advocating for yourself as a patient, but like, if you don't know what you're advocating for, then
how
what are you going to
do it?
Exactly. So Colin's family get $5.6 million in damages because of his brain injury, right? But because of the cap on damages, which the jury that awarded them this money doesn't know about, it gets reduced to only 1.25 million. And I know you're thinking like, oh my god, that's a lot of money, but it's actually not a lot of money. He is maybe in his teens. He has a whole life left to live. Like, he's not going to be able to, like, get a job or to earn his own money, that sort of thing.
And they had estimated that it would take $6 million to look after him, like, till
exactly,
whatever. So that 1.25 is not going to take him anywhere, especially after you pay legal fees.
Exactly. And his parents are kind of like, okay, well, if anything happens to us, then what the fuck's going to happen to Colin? And even to the other twin that like kind of survived, it's like, okay, who, do you know what I mean? Like, crazy. So our talking head says,
it's not just an economic need. There are moral issues involved here. And what a cap does is it relieves the wrongdoer, often a company or a healthcare provider, of the responsibility they have for the damage that they caused.
It's like big pharma or big whatever, like it's all about capitalism and making money, and like all these laws and rules and everything just are made to serve that whole agenda. So now we're on exhibit 3, judicial elections. And so this is about this prosecutor called Oliver Diaz, and like everything in me wants to say Diaz, but they call him Diaz and he says Diaz himself.
He's trying to distance himself from that Mexicanness.
Literally, it's like, even though I'm doing my Duolingo Spanish and like it's everything in me is screaming Diaz, it's telling me Diaz. So I'm gonna say Diaz. We're in Jackson, Mississippi. Okay, I'm gonna call him Oliver because Diaz just doesn't sit right with me. Oliver is a former justice of the Mississippi Supreme Court. I didn't realize that there was like a Supreme Court in every single fucking state.
Okay, I'm happy I'm not stupid. I thought there was just one.
I thought there was just one.
The
one
the
Supreme
where Ruth was part of. I didn't know there was many. What makes her so special? Explain. Is it because is it in Washington? Maybe, bro.
I said, you know what? I'm an ignorant bitch, but then also I was like, I'm not American, so
that's none of my business.
None of my business.
I think they make this shit so complex, to just deter people from doing. But then our system isn't that clear cut either, so I don't know, man. So why can't we all just fight to the death, and whoever wins, can't we all just get along, and then that's it, and then we just leave it at that? Like, it makes it easy. All this PM and this and that and cabinet and
the Senate
and the Senate and the electoral colleges and like
it's too much.
But I think they do this so that you don't really understand the system. So when you're voting, you don't even know what you're voting for, and then
you don't even realize.
And then it's like, oh, like even like here, all this constituency and my learned friend. I mean, that's a legal term, but I think they do it just so you don't know what the fuck is going on.
Everything's confusing,
And then next thing you have fucking Boris Johnson and his windswept hair and that guy with a wig like sitting in Parliament.
Michael Fabricant. Listen, they literally just they give you a vote, so it feels as if you're doing something. You're not doing anything. It's like, you know, when you're playing PlayStation or whatever, with a child, they're like their controller's not plugged in, and they're just like feeling like they're playing and doing something. That's us. Yeah,
that's us. We're doing fuck all, mate. We're doing fuck all, and they're just playing like Monopoly with the like current state of financial affairs.
Mate.
Oh God.
They said they don't go to jail.
Mate.
So apparently there's bare Supreme Courts. Oliver was former justice of the Mississippi one. Do you think there's rankings? There must be rankings. There must be like some like in the judge world.
Yeah,
they're like, Mississippi, okay.
Because why did we hear so much about that Ruth babe being? It must be ranked. There must be rankings.
No, let me check what she's
I know people.
R.I.P.
People are rolling in their grace. I know people are just rolling in their cars listening to us being so like ignorant. Yeah.
Listen, I'm learning something new today. So, where am I now?
Oliver.
Yeah. So Oliver, his whole situation is that like he's a good guy, but he is up against like big pharma. It's not pharma, but do you know what I mean? Big companies.
Yeah.
He's trying to run for a campaign to be someone, and then they have bare ad space, and they like trash his name and stuff, and then he wins anyway.
It's basically just telling you that these seats can be bought. That's the point.
Basically,
of the whole thing.
Basically,
that they can be surmised in 2 sentences.
And this is why there's 2 girls and 1 dog. Yep. So exhibit 4, mandatory arbitration. This one I thought was kind of fucked.
Yeah, it was fucked.
This one I was like, I was zoning out, and then when this happened, I was like, whoa.
We just went from 0 to like 100 real quick with
no warning. So we're talking about Jamie Lee Jones versus Halliburton, which is a company to do with like water and
it's
stuff. It's
difficult for me to like anyone called Jamie Lee though.
Why? Because of Curtis?
No, because of Jamie Lynn Spears.
Oh, but it's Jamie Lee though.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I take that back then.
Yeah, she's cool. Yeah, she's fine, man. She's been through a lot, this girl.
Yeah. No.
So we're in Houston, Texas. So Jamie works for this company called Halliburton, and so she signs a contract to join the company, which is kind of like the army, kind of, from what I gathered. She's 19, yeah. And so in her contract, it says that you give up the right to arbitrate against your employer.
No,
and
it's non-arbitration. So you give up the right to take them to court, but you have to arbitrate.
Thank you so much. You give up the right to go to court. You have to arbitrate, which means that like you can't go to court and be like, hey, help me out. You have to basically like do it all in-house, secretly, privately, and obviously the company's going to win because all the arbitration stuff is all in-house, and like the arbitrators are hired by the companies, and so obviously if they arbitrate or decide against the company, they're going to be blacklisted.
Yeah,
whatever.
And they use the company uses them more, and you're just one so they're always going to side with the company.
Exactly. And apparently there's bare of these.
So this is just like, it reminds me of when Michael did that negotiation day in his office and he was like, win, 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 lose. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And he was going to solve everybody's problems, but he just caused more of a mess.
Yeah, but story of his life though.
Okay.
So what happens, and guys, trigger warning, everything, yeah. She is deployed to Iraq.
And before we go there, my understanding is these companies are the people who like provide care for the soldiers, i.e. like food and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that's why she was deployed to Iraq, because I was a bit confused. I was like, oh, like, are you a soldier? So then I understood.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you, because I was still confused. I was like, no, she's fighting.
Because obviously you don't think about it, but they have to eat and people go there.
Yeah, it's true, I guess. Yeah, that's true, I guess. So she's supposed to be in women's accommodation, yeah, and they told her that she was going to be, but they didn't. They put her in men's accommodation, which is disturbing enough, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, just hella men. I think she's literally she's the only woman in the whole ends, yeah. So she complains. She gets an email back saying that, you know, she'll get over it. Basically, like, it's not that deep, yeah. She gets catcalled, which is bad enough, but then one time she's drugged, she's raped, she's severely beaten, and she has bare bruises on her wrist. She's like bleeding between her legs, like she's been gang raped. Like, she had to have reconstructive surgery because she has significant vaginal and anal tears. Like, this is a fucking brutal attack. This happened to her,
yeah.
Literally. And then she goes back into her room and one of the guys who did this to her is still there. Like, no fear, no shame, like literally just still there, like taunting her. Fucked. They do a rape kit. Just chilling. They do a rape kit and they give it to the security, and then magically some parts of the rape kit disappear, so it can't be used for anything, right? And then she gets held there in a shipping container for ages. It's kind of like fast forwarded, but basically she's able to make a phone call and she calls her dad, and her dad calls the congressman, and so that's how people start to know about it. And they basically say to her, listen, if you want to stay, but if you want to quit, like, you can't file a criminal case anyway because of the mandatory arbitration in your contract. So she tries to file a criminal case, for some reason can't do it, tries to file a civil one and she can't do that. So she's kind of just like, oh, like, fuck. And also with the arbitration thing, if you lose, you can't appeal. Like, it just is what it is, yeah. And also means there's no public record of what's happened. But Jamie finds out that, like, this has happened to other women before, and apparently she like gets a court date for June 2011, which was ages ago, because that's when this documentary was ages ago. I don't know the outcome of that. So alright, so I've just googled the case. Yeah, it says, so we said that she went to court, she got her case. The jury returned a verdict that rejected all of Jones's claims, finding that the sex between Jones and the employee was consensual and therefore no rape had occurred. And that KBR didn't.
Who consents to being raped so brutally? Yeah,
and she couldn't. Like, she was drugged as well.
America's wayward, man.
Nah,
that's gonna mess her up. That's just
Fam, in a subsequent ruling, the court held Jones liable for the company's court cost of $145,000, but also determined that the case was not frivolous and therefore she was not liable. Do you know what? This is enough to make somebody go crazy.
Yeah,
this is enough to make someone go mad.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. So yeah, the documentary's coming to an end now, and they're just talking about how important it is to hold perpetrators accountable. So basically these big companies and these big businesses, and I agree with that, right? So Talking Head explains how difficult it is to go to court. Like, it's actually not easy to go to court. Like, it costs money, it's very stressful, you can be put in the media and then you don't want to be, that kind of thing, but also you're winning a case for other people as well as getting justice for yourself, which is good. So on-screen text tells us Stella Liebeck never regained the strength and energy she had before the burns. She passed away in 2004 at age 91. She had a good run. McDonald's is also holding temperature for their coffee is now 10 degrees lower than it was, which takes it under the 100 degrees, which can lead to such significant burns. So now it's time for
the real crime, I think, was the beard.
Our segment where we focus on something during the documentary that may not be criminal, but we definitely consider to be a crime. Have you got one?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this bit. They were asking some people that looked like judges, like, some questions as they were going into
the ones that were sitting on the floor.
Sitting on the floor?
Outside? No, not them. Okay, never mind.
No, and there was this black guy with a bow tie, and he was just saying that he doesn't believe in tort law. I was like, you fucking hoon. That was the crime for me.
Fam, yeah, I forgot to mention him. Yeah, in fact, he's even mine. Yeah. Honestly. And then do you know what it was? He wasn't a judge, he was a lawyer.
Yeah.
Because they were like talking about tort reform, and then they were like to him, like, what do you think about it? And he was like, oh yeah, no, I'm against it. He's for it. So basically he's against like the people, the good, he's bad basically. And they were like, oh, what do you do? And he was like, I'm a lawyer. And they were like, oh, like who for? And he was like, oh, in-house. And like not wanting to say, and he was like, oh, in-house for who? And then it was like some major company. And it was like, oh, obviously.
Yeah, looks like the Nutty Professor. That's his energy.
Yeah, his glasses were like.
Yeah, and it's the same like small head and then bow tie. But yeah. That was my crime. Black people need to do better.
I'm going to jump on that one because I couldn't think of one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
I think we've surmised it pretty well. I mean, if you're in the mood for a lecture on the American judicial
there was a
system,
lot that we didn't include.
Yeah, then you can watch it. But if that's not your vibe, then we've given you the tea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, we've given you the tea. Like, that's the juicy bits of it.
Yeah, literally. Those are the bits that matter.
Yeah. So next we're doing a credits.
Yeah.
So there's no trailer.
Did you listen to my voice note about covering a case?
Yes, I am on that. I'm on that case if there's enough information.
Okay, cool.
You can send
what case are we talking about? It's going to be a surprise.
Surprise, motherfuckers.
Surprise, motherfucker. But yeah, in the meantime, you can listen to us. Oh, well, you just listened to us actually, so thank you. If you're here still, can you please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you can. Just so that people can find us and enjoy us. Like, don't gatekeep. Do you know what I mean? Don't be that guy. Like, just share. Sure. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. 2 Girls 1 Doc. On TikTok, it's 2 Girls 1 Doc podcast. We've got bare videos on there for you to have a look at. And then that's it. Then I think is there anything else you'd like to add, beloved?
No,
I'm so hungry. I need to go and eat.
Yeah, me too.
All right then, till next time. No trailer because it's the credits, but
bye.
Yeah. Bye.